Hello, my amazing artists. Today we are going to draw a little owl, just like in the story. Now what you're going to need is a black oil pastel, and then we're going to use colors at the end. But first, we're going to also have a white piece of paper, a 9x12, preferably watercolor paper, and our black oil pastel. Now, to draw our owl, first thing we're going to do is in the center of our paper, we're going to draw 2 circles. Now, these circles are not going to touch, so they're going to have about 2 or 3 fingers apart. And I'm just going to draw 2 small circles about the size of a quarter. And I'm going to color my circles in. Take my time, color them very carefully. Just very dark black eyes. And then we're going to draw 2 more circles around those black circles. So I'm going to draw 1 circle, and you see how I just am drawing around very carefully. It may not be perfect, but that's okay. And then I'm going to draw another circle around that. So I've got the whites of the eyes because, you know, owls have very big eyes that you can see all the way around. And then I've got the eye opening, which is what I just drew. Then I'm going to draw the beak of the owl. So the beak is going to be a diamond shape. So to draw this diamond shape, I'm going to draw the top of a triangle. And then instead of drawing the bottom for the triangle, I'm going to draw a V shape like that. And that's going to give me a diamond. And then I'm going to draw the top of the head. So it's going to be like this rainbow. And then I'm going to draw the bottom of the head, which is going to be this like U shape, like that. Now, I need to draw the ears. So the ears are going to kind of go out and do a little bit of a zigzag and then back in, out, zigzag, and back in. Okay. Now I'm ready to draw the chest of the owl. Now I'm going to draw this kind of like U shape or half U or a semicircle. So I drew the 2 U shapes for the belly of the owl, and now I'm going to draw his wings. So I drew kind of like an upside down candy cane shape. So that's like the top of his wing. And I'm going to make 1, 2, so 3 loops for his wing like that. All right, then I'm going to start up here below his cheek but to the right of his chest. And I'm going to go out and make like 3 finger loops and in for the bottom of his wing. Now we're going to add his feet. Now his feet are like just little fingers. So they're going to be little, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 for his feet. Okay, so now for the fun part. We can take all kinds of different colors, and we can draw the outlines for different things like a branch that he's sitting on and some leaves. But the trick is, we're not going to color in any of these things. We're just going to add lines and patterns. Then we're going to go back and paint them inside. And then with the resist of the oil and the watercolor, you're going to get to see all these cool designs that you've made. But if you color it in, you can't see all the designs. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the side of the tree. Now the side of the tree is going to come down along the side of the paper. And then it's going to curve out a little bit and come to where the owl is sitting just on the top of it, like that. Now you can see that wherever the feet were, I stopped my brown line and I picked it back up. That makes it look like the owl is sitting on top of or in front of something. Then I'm going to come back down a little bit lower, and you know my branch is going to get thicker towards the bottom, towards the trunk, and then it's going to come back down, and that's the tree picking up. Now, this tree can have all kinds of cool lines, and maybe it kind of goes in like that and then back down, and maybe have a knot here. I think I might draw the knots in. So a knot is kind of where there was a branch and then it got cut off or something happened to it. And the lines of the tree and the bark are going to go around these lines on the branches like that. Now, like I said, I'm not going to color in. I'm just going to draw lots of wood lines like that. And that's going to start to give my picture texture and patterns. Okay, like that. And I could use different colors. I could use light brown and dark brown. I could use black. I could make it look like there's a hole in the tree. Maybe there's a hole right here. And there's a little squirrel living inside of it. So while I've got my black, I'm also going to draw the moon, because our owl is going to be, it's going to be at night, because owls wake up at night because they're nocturnal. So for the moon, I'm going to draw it where it looks like it's behind the tree. So remember, when anything is in front of, I'm going to stop my line. So I'm going to draw this circle, and it's going to be a big old moon. Do you see how it stops at my tree and it stops at the owl? And I might pretend like it's going all the way around, and I pick up and I go like that. Okay, so that's going to be my moon. Now the moon can, I can use different colors on the moon. My moon might have some craters, so I might draw this kind of like crescent shape around my moon. Maybe there's one coming up from here and going behind the tree. And I can even rub it with my finger a little bit so it looks like it's dipping. Don't want to do this everywhere on the moon, but just in a few spots. I can also take my white, because remember, when we are using oil pastel, we can create a resist where when I paint over it, it's going to show up. So I don't have any white, but I think I've got a white crayon. You guys should all have white oil pastels, but I'm gonna use my white crayon, and I'm just gonna draw some circles on the moon, because remember, those craters are around too. And I might just add little dots around. I might outline around my moon like that. Okay, I can also add some feathers to my owl. But you know what? My owl is interesting. So he is not just brown. He has some yellow feathers on his chest. And the way I do that is I'm just making all of these U shapes, and I connect them like that, kind of like a wave. Now here's another thing you can do. You can take another color or the same color, and at the bottom of these U's, I'm going to connect them like that with another U. So at the bottom of the middle, I'm going to connect it like this. That starts to make it look like he has some feathers. And then I might even use a different color and do it again. At the bottom of the U, I'm going to draw another U. And like that. Then this one's going to go kind of off of the chest like that. I could outline his nose. Remember, I'm not coloring, but I can outline things so that when I go back and paint it, it really shows up. Might outline his feet, and I might outline him in some brown. You know, he's got all these feathers, so I could draw more feathers around in different colors. That. Outline it like that. Okay. And oh, you know what my tree is missing? It's missing some leaves. So let me show you how you can draw a leaf shape. So a leaf shape is just like a rainbow and a smiley face. So I might draw some leaves just all around like this. even have to be connected to something. They can be coming on the owl. And then I'm just gonna draw the middle vein. I could draw more veins on the leaves if I want, but I'm just kind of drawing some to get started and add some color like that. You guys use your imaginations. Think about what else would be at night around this owl while he is in front of the moon. And then once we're done, we're going to watercolor these. If we don't get to it this week, then we'll do it next week. I'm gonna add some white around the outside of his eyes like that. All right, well, you guys have fun with your owls, and I look forward to seeing them when we get back. Don't forget to put your name on the back too. All right, see y'all later, bye. Okay, so when we paint our owls, the first thing that we need to do is we need to take a brush and we need to wake up our colors, especially the colors we know we're gonna use. Like we're gonna use black and brown on our owls. So I'm gonna wake those colors up. I'm gonna use some yellow, some fall colors. So some reds and some oranges and some yellows. I'm gonna need greens for my tree, and maybe some blues and some purples for the night sky also. I don't want to just do black, because if one color is interesting, more colors are more interesting. Okay, so now that I've woken up some of my watercolors, I don't have to wake them all up. Some of them I'm gonna let them sleep because I don't think I'm gonna use them. But the ones that I know I'm going to use, like the brown, I'm going to just dip my brush in the juice of the brown. And I'm gonna remember that I always just paint with the juice. And I'm gonna start with the outline of my owl, which means I'm gonna paint around the outside of my owl. Now the reason I'm doing this, if I find that my juice is getting a little bit dry, I'm gonna add just a little bit more water to it. The reason I'm starting with the outline of my owl is because when I go back to paint my background, if my owl has dried a little bit because I started with him first, it's gonna help my painting not smear. Okay, so sometimes when I get too much paint, like it's really dark, I just add a little bit of water to my brush and I can move it around so much more. Okay, and I'm going to paint around the outside again of my owl and his wings like that. I also am going to paint my tree, but I want my tree to be a little bit of a different color than my owl. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of brown to start off with. I'm going to try to leave my leaves without color. And then I'm going to switch to maybe this orange color too. Oops, I painted over that leaf. That's okay. And I'm just gonna mix some oranges and some browns. I could even mix in maybe some black, but I really want it to look different than my owl. So I'm gonna try to use several colors kind of make it look a little bit different than the color of my owl. So I'm gonna add a little bit more orange to this, especially when I get close to my owl, so he can just look a little bit different than the tree, because I won't want too much brown. I can have an orange tree if I want, right? I can also add in a little bit of black. Ooh, that was a lot of bit of black. Clean my brush and I'm just going to kind of streak this black around like this. I'm not going to get too upset about it. I'm just going to pick up some black and I'm going to add it kind of on the underneath side of things. That's going to make my tree branch look a little bit rounder on the inside of my branch and underneath the owl. That's going to start to make it look round, because when things get dark around the sides, it kind of starts to make them look round a little bit. Ooh, I kind of like it. Okay. I'm gonna switch to some yellow. You can see I'm kind of jumping around on my owl a little bit, but the reason I'm doing that is so that I can let some things dry. Also, I'm gonna try to keep a little bit of space in between my brown for the owl that's still wet and my my yellow belly. That's gonna help me, my colors not all blend together. So even right here on the feet, I'm gonna try to stay kind of away from the branch a little bit. And I'm gonna use the tip of my brush and I'm gonna get around the eyes. Could use a little bit of a different orange too. It's gonna help it look, those yellow lines show up. There we go, like that. And my beak's gonna be a little bit oranger too. Oops, see, it's gonna start to kind of blend a little bit. Now, if I find that my colors are mixing too much, I can dab it with a paper towel. Also, I can paint my leaves green color. I'm gonna use that tip of my brush so that I can keep some distance between the brown and the green if I want. Okay, and a little bit more. All right, now the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint the night sky. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my paper just a little bit wet. And those of you who we have done watercolor before, you will know that we call this wet on wet. This is just gonna help my paint move around a little bit easier and a little bit more even. But I'm gonna be very careful not to get too close to anything that I don't want to mix. Okay, and then I can take some of my black, blend it around, but I may not want to do just black because in the night we see black, we also see, ooh, maybe some purple in there. So I can mix several different colors when I'm painting these. Okay, I might mix some purple in here. Like that. Beautiful. Blend it together. Okay. And then down in here, still got a little bit of black on my paintbrush. Okay, and maybe a little bit of purple. I'm gonna use the tip of my brush. This brush is great because it's got a little bit, it's got a really great tip. So I can get in, even though it's a fat brush, I can get in all of these little areas and brush in there. Okay, so now I have my owl at night. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go put it on the drying rack. And then I can put some salt on it too if I want, just to add a little